welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson. Man, today we have an excellent show with just an amazing woman who has so much excitement and joy and passion, and it is so nice to hear that, especially, with COVID and all the things that we've been through, and just to hear her remarkable story is truly, truly amazing. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this show and the charisma and a lot of the tips and really the resolve. I think what you're going to learn from this podcast, in today's podcast, is really the resolve and the commitment and, that self-talk that you have to have in order to make a amazing life and really to create the journey, the legacy journey of legacy family wealth. It is so exciting and amazing and refreshing. Before we get started in that podcast, though, I really just want to take a quick minute. Man, I love it. And dude, you guys have been doing this like amazingly well. We have 675 written reviews. Listen, I don't know any other multifamily legacy podcast or podcasts out there in the multifamily space that has that many written reviews. So you, my loyal listeners, the followers, I'm ecstatic. I love this. I love seeing this. So first one comes from Lucy Peranza. It says, after listening to this podcast, I see that what Corey teaches is extremely valuable, particularly in this part of the market cycle we are in, because, well, you just have to listen to see. That's the truth. You got to get it, man. You have to get into it. The next one comes from Hassan Alden. It says, Mr. Peterson is a great host with great insights on apartment investing, both for a passive investor as well as a sponsor. The content of this show is inspiring and beneficial to anyone in multifamily and anyone looking to get into the multifamily space. Again, thank you so much. Listen, I love when you guys take the time to get out there and do it. I enjoy this ride. I enjoy the journey. I love apartment investing, and I want to share my passion by bringing you great teachings and great guests. And today's guest is an absolute powerhouse. So it really is amazing. And before we get to that, though, a quick word from our sponsor.
Get started in multifamily real estate investing. Join our virtual Apartments to Millions Summit, where we will teach you how to get started in multifamily real estate investing. Text A2M, the number 2M, to 480-500-1127. Learn how to create cash flow and not quick profits.
Okay, so today's guest is Dr. Erin Hudson. Not only has she, she's a mom of 5. She is very passionate, and but she's also started off. She's a doctor. She's had two chiropractic offices, 30 plus employees, team members, and she found her. I would call it her calling to start getting into real estate, and she started off. And it's incredible. I'm not going to let her tell her story how she started off, but she is doing it and doing it well. She is now a part of a 25% owner of Quattro Capital. Really neat story, great focus, and really to show you guys that you can do this business no matter where you're at. Sometimes you have to put one foot firmly in a job or the thing that you're doing, but you do not forget to take that other foot and firmly, and I mean firmly, plant it to where you are going. And that is exactly what Erin has done. It's an amazing story, so let's get to it. Hey, Erin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. What a pleasure.
Man, I'm so excited just to have you on the show, and I think you've got a really neat story of, you run some businesses already, and you're in real estate as well, and you're not in it just like a little bit. You're going pretty damn good. I would just love to hear your story of how you got into real estate and where you're at today. I think it's amazing. Everything, I think people can relate.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Well, first and foremost, I am a mom. For all those mamas out there, I am a mom of 5 beautiful, amazing children. Sometimes I lose my patience, but I hope that from just what we're sharing today, that it resonates with some of you that are working moms that want to build a freaking empire and show your kids exactly how to do it. Not that I'm there yet, but I'm on a freaking mission. Let me tell you that much. So
I love it.
yeah, with that being said, I did, as I said, Mama 5. I'm the taxi cab driver that drives the kids to all the sports and where they need to go, and still managed to, at the time when I got started in real estate, take care of 30 headaches. Oh, I mean, team members in our practices. And from there, I really just was on a mission to learn what it is that the wealthy were doing. And I certainly, don't get me wrong, I loved my practices, but it was a lot of hard work. And along the way, I found a way to create more freedom.
So now, what is your practice? Like, it's chiropractic, right?
Correct. Yep. 2 practices, Southern California. I sold my last practice just right before COVID at the beginning of March. And
good job.
Yeah, just focus 100% in the multifamily space.
So how did you go from that portion of, hey, I've 5 kids, taxi cab driver, and people that have kids, I've had kids, like, I mean, that's just what it is. And then it's sports too. It's like, oh my gosh, it doesn't ever stop. That's a full-time gig on its own, and a practice, and then this dream of real estate. And how did you get the dream of real estate?
Well, I think it was just a matter of going back and you look at how all the millionaires and billionaires were made, and their portfolio was a good portion of real estate. And so I was really intrigued by that at a really young age. And I think, just rewind, I came from a family where my parents truly lived paycheck to paycheck. Nothing against them. They did the best they could, and that's all they knew, right? Yep. It was almost like a generational curse. And I remember at such a young age, just having this entrepreneurial spirit of, I don't ever want to live my life like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was just learning at a young age that we're in control of our destiny, and what do you want it to look like?
Yeah, that internal drive, huh?
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely.
And so you took that and you started businesses, right? You went and you got your, it sounds like you got obviously to be a chiropractor, you got a schooling, doctor, all that stuff, right? I should have said Dr. Erin. I'm sorry.
No worries. It's all good.
That's like work in itself, but really that probably even prepared you for the real estate world because of the commitment you have to make that, because it's the same kind of commitment to be successful in real estate, I think.
Sure. Now, I think for me, I was in practice and I really was not doing it the right way. I was that ridiculous entrepreneur that thought I needed to have a pulse on everything, right?
Yeah.
And so at times, I was doing all the, I don't want to call it lackey, but a $10 an hour jobs, right? And I started coaching with this incredible coach back in 2014. And that was a pivotal game changer for me, because she said, I will not coach with you on our next session until you go hire 5 people to help you lighten your load and to have them do the $10 an hour jobs and not yourself. So I was so upset. My feelings were hurt, but it was the most pivotal thing that happened to me in being a doctor in my practice. It was a massive game changer.
You got time back a little bit, huh?
Yes, I did get time back, but to the tune of really, I would see patients and I noticed that I started to have gaps in between my schedule. And so that is when all fury broke loose and I started to dig into the real estate space.
Now, did you go straight to multifamily, or did you stop and pass by the greenhouses, the Monopoly game of the greenhouses?
Yes, that's the analogy I love to use. Yes, it was a matter of first and foremost is really finding out that there was this mailbox money that people were getting. And I love the idea of this passive income stream and dug in further. But let me tell you how I initially started. I did not have any money to go buy a handful of houses. Right. But I will tell you, one thing that I am is freaking resourceful. So to the tune of, I knew that there was something called a double close. Wasn't quite sure what it looked like or how to do it. But I didn't make an excuse of, I don't know how to do it. I got on the phone. I called the title company. I happened to be buying in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I said, hey, Sally, listen, this is Erin. I am totally new in this space. And this is going to be a total amateur question. I'm hoping you can help me out. And she says, well, what have you got? I said, I heard there's something called a double close. Can you just walk me through how that goes? And She says, yeah, you've got to put a contract, put a contract together. Okay, then you have to have another contract for B2C. Okay, B2C. And long story short, that is how I learned how to do a double close. And that's how I got started right from the get-go.
Yes, dude. That is awesome. That is so cool. One of the things, resourcefulness, right, is a prerequisite for anybody that's wanting to start a business. You have to be able to figure out and solve problems. And a lot of times, and I think you just showed your vulnerability, and I think this is very hard for a lot of people, is to say, I need help, right? I mean, that's what you went to the title company and said, like, I'm new, but I need help and I don't have all the answers. So how do I do that? And then it was like, they give you the prescription, right? You just write the prescription down and you go, that's what I need. That's so cool.
That is it, my friend. That's how I did it.
Okay, so you start there, you start getting some single family stuff, right? When did you start thinking about multifamily? Like where did that come along and get your vision got bigger somehow?
Sure.
Or was it always there? You just like was more methodical about it?
No, I was super visionary for sure. I love being resourceful, but really I got started in that single family space. And I found out very quickly, like I love negotiations. It's super fun, y'all. It's like a game, right? So at one point when I got started, I was 12 houses in within 6 months and I was kind of addicted to it, but hey, it's a health addiction. It wasn't alcohol, right?
Yeah.
And so I got addicted to it. And all of a sudden the doctors in my practice, friends were saying, what in the heck are you doing? Can you help me? And so fast forward, I'd be totally matter of fact with my warm market, y'all. People love integrity, right? People love when you put something on the table and you can speak from a place of integrity, and it went something like this. Hey, listen, I would love to help you get this property, but here's the deal. Company ABC down the street is probably far better than me. They've been at it for 10 years. Listen, in 2 years, I acquired these 26 properties. This is what's working for me. So, but again, they have the stack down the street. And the more you are honest and speak from that place, guess what? They wanted it so much freaking more because I wasn't shouting from the mountaintops about how wonderful I am and rainbows and butterflies, right?
Yep.
I would share with them the negative things that are bound to happen, y'all, to the tune of this. So I would say ABC is probably better, but I said also just understand in this place, there's going to be peaks and there's going to be valleys. To the tune of one of my investors, their tenant took the kitchen cabinets out when their lease was up. I had another one who they closed and 30 days later, the property burned to the floor. Nobody died, but I shared those stories. Why?
Yeah.
Because I want them to know it is
There's
not all
real risk with it. Yeah.
It's real. It's life, right? So anyways, fast forward, it turned into 230 acquisitions and dispositions with my warm market without a website, y'all. It just is word of mouth when you do the right thing for people.
Yeah. So I love that, even just that piece, right? So first of all, just kind of breaking down what you just said, it's just getting in motion. And a lot of people say, oh, I got to have my website, I got to have this. But when we're talking with people, it's just people. This is just like, it's just people. You can pick up your phone, you can have a conversation, if you can't talk about what you're doing on a napkin, it's too damn complicated. Amen. Most people are not going to understand it. When you make it simple and clear, and then if you're passionate behind it and you have integrity, like all the things can line up to fund deals and get stuff. And I'm assuming those guys become your money people, right?
Oh my gosh, friend. So you asked, like, how did it turn into the multifamily? So, it started with that whole single family space. Then I got invited to go to this multifamily one day thing. And I literally was that chick that sat in the front row with my hands crossed, like, why the heck am I here? What the heck's going on? This crap is only for the rich people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't buy an apartment building. And literally it was that aha moment, Corey, that you explained when we first got on the call. It was Monopoly. I was the chick that was landing on Vermont, collecting $50, right? With all my IE single family properties. And I just found a way to freaking land on Boardwalk and make $5,000 a night, right?
Yeah, put one of those big red hotels in there. Those big apartments, right?
Hotels. And so listen, the truth is I owed it to my people to go back to them and tell them that there is a better way. So with that being said, I knew it was much more of a learning curve. and time for me to get educated and so on and so forth. And so about a year after that, I went back to him, and my first deal was actually 104 unit, and I raised $2 million just with my people that I had performed with before, right?
Boom. Come on, just like make it rain. What's up? Dude, that is so awesome. So that is exactly, and what you just said again, guys, this is no secret. She started with single family. She got a vision. You got a vision. You're like, dude, this vision's yeah, right? But you also realize, like, hey, I gotta learn some stuff, right? So you had to go back because it is a different machine, right? But the great thing about all this stuff is it's already been laid out. There's so many educators, so many things you can go and get a good framework or groundwork. Here's how the game's played. Here's how you do it correctly. Once you felt like you had a good understanding on that, now you're like, it's game on. Now I know what to do, what to say, where to go. And then you just took action. Now, did you find that deal on your own, or did you have someone, a partner, bring it in with you?
Yeah, we had a partner that brought it in. Yep.
Already learning from that first year, you hired people in your practice. Partnerships sometimes work really well in multifamily as long as everybody agrees on the same thing and everybody knows what their responsibilities are.
That's right.
And
Amen.
And did that conversation go pretty good? Like, did they bring you into the deal, or how did that piece come about?
Yeah, they had brought me into the deal. It was part of our mentoring group that we had been a part of, Ari Mentor out of Boston. And, you'd start to see the same people at
that's where I started, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm on Dave's wall, bro.
Oh my God.
I'm an OG, man. I'm a straight up OG at Ari Mentor.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we started there and found a couple folks to link up with. And really, that's how it all began. For sure.
I can't even underestimate the power of getting like-minded people into the same room. And then, because that's where you start kind of building some strategies, because you may have one piece of the puzzle, but you don't have all the pieces. And if you can strategically bring the right people together, that's all focused for the right thing, even though you're still got to practice and a job and all these things, it seems like it can fit, because the hardest thing to ever do is your first deal.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
So those conversations with raising money, it's different now. So this is not single family, it's multi. How did that story go? And I guess I'll call it the pitch, but like, what kind of conversations, what different conversations were you having about the multifamily piece of this?
You know what? We just make it so simple, right? Just like how you said, when you inundate with tons of information, confusion of the brain says no. But when you make it super simple, just like our whole Monopoly analogy, that speaks volume to people, right? But even far beyond that, here's really what matters. Does the individual know you, like you, and trust you, right? Because the property is important, but the team is even more important, right? And so it's that pre-existing relationship that really is super, super powerful. And
so these were just conversations that you're having. This is not like a pitch, more so. It's just like, let's talk about your investors a little bit. Like, so what are they getting out of it? Like, what do they want, I guess, and why is this so easy?
I think that bottom line, who doesn't want to duplicate their money in 5 years, right? Yep. And I think that you're coming back and you're bringing the why is this better, right? And let's just as I shared in the single family space, there's highs and there's lows, right? So what happens if all of a sudden, and it's having this frank conversation, what happens if you do have a tenant and they're there for a whole year and they move out, and now you have to replace all the flooring and paint the walls, right? This is common. Yep. So now all of a sudden this income that was hitting a 10% return now drops to maybe a 1.5%, a 2%, because it's out of our control. Yeah. So what if we can make it more in your control, decrease the liabilities, increase the return, and diminish that risk? Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, by using the scale of apartments, right?
Totally. And diversifying. Look, you got some in single, let's go take it to, the multifamily space. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. This puppy's going to go quick. It's a hot deal, right?
Yep.
So,
and capital follows that, because that's what's in it for them, is like, they've got to put their money somewhere anyways. And I think a lot of people don't understand that piece of it, as well as, like, we're not really selling. When you're raising capital, you're not selling something. No. You're giving someone an opportunity.
Yep. There you go. And it's also, for me, it's explaining and sharing with them about capital preservation and why the multifamily is so much more powerful of an asset, because it's not in essence, based on the comps that are selling. Like single family is predicated basically on what the neighbor's house is selling for. And as long as you can make this churn and burn, and also share with them that we're coming in and we're buying a C asset that needs help. It's a problematic property. And that's where we come in and we bring the solution to it, right? And obviously there's meat on the bone, which means it's going to increase that bottom line and make it highly desirable.
Which makes it more profitable. Yeah. It's like, oh, we can force appreciation with this asset. We have something that's way more in our control than the market, which is truly not in our control, which is what we were relying on the single family.
100%. 100%.
Now, I got to ask you this, because I think, how did it feel when you raised that $2 million?
You know what? Listen, this may sound really like cocky or braggadocious, or I don't know what you want to call it. It's really sad. The older I get, the more confident I become, right? But I was just talking with this coach. Our team, Quattro Capital, has got this highfalutin coach that we use. And he was asking literally at the end of 2020, how do you feel like you did for the year 2020? And my true answer is, I don't feel like there's anything that I cannot do. And whatever I want, I just got to go for it. I know I'm entitled and I'll get it, right? It's how bad do I want it?
Yeah.
The world's our playground. Let's go have it. It takes action.
It really is about putting your mind to it, right?
Totally.
And once you learn that power, right? Because that's the superpower that most people they've not even scratched or understand how it works. But when you get it and you understand, like, listen, it really is just up to me at this point now. I just got to tell my mind yes. And when you do that, it's amazing what you can do. Like, you just raised $2 million just because you put your mind to it.
Right. Yeah.
So now and you raised the $2 million last year or the year before?
That was in May of 2019.
Okay. So thinking forward, like, okay, so whatever you did in 19, and we'll call it 2020. Now, what's Erin's new, because maybe we can say, how much money did you raise 2020? But what is your plan for 2021?
Yeah, well, listen, it just keeps getting sweeter. That was 2019, right?
Yeah.
And 2020, beginning in January, I should say in 2019, I met some incredible people that I ended up partnering with that we have just gone on a mission for 2020. And it's been absolutely a game changer. And let me just share with you why. 2019 was me running around with my head cut off, trying to wear every hat to find the brokers, to find the deals, to find the money. You get the gist, right?
Yeah, all of it.
There is such beauty that comes in the multifamily space, because in the single family space, you're on your own. You're finding your own deals. You're putting it together. It's your deal. Yep. But could you imagine you get to all of a sudden climb the rungs on the ladder and land into something so much more beautiful, where you have partners where my greatest weakness is another one's strength. And now all of a sudden you've created this massive synergy, right? Where everyone works so well together. And that's exactly what I landed in January. And man, was I ever praying for it. I was like, man, I'm cool, but I know there's other people that I need that have to be far better than me. And let me tell you, my partners, I don't even come close to them. They are that awesome. I wake up in the morning and go, man, am I blessed to have the most incredible team to get to work with.
Wow. That's a great feeling, isn't it?
Oh my God.
And then it propels you too. It propels you, does it not?
It totally does. I mean, 2020, we started off in 2020 and there was actually, you want to hear about a good deal?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this. So in 2020 is when I started working with my other 4 partners, and we had one deal. I did not find the deal. One of my partners did. It was in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was a 35 unit, $200 a door under market. And the team says, or these, at the time, we were not Quattro at that time. We were just getting to know one another on a get in business kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, long story short, my 25% piece of the pie was to bring $300,000 to the table, right? Yep. At the time, I had my 26 properties. They were free and clear. And all that went through my head was, I'm just going to go refi these properties because I'd never leveraged and done it, which I know is kind of stupid. But anyhow, so I was going to refinance and take $300,000 out to throw into this deal for my 25% ownership.
Yep.
I went to bed that night, woke up in the middle of the night, and I had like a moment. And this moment was, oh my gosh, I am not going to use my own money. I'm going to wake up and do something wild. So I woke up that next morning, got on Facebook, and I said, how would you like to make a great return, have it backed by real estate? And how would you like to make a great return and have it backed by real estate? Something like such.
Right.
And how would you like to be the bank? I'm sorry, that's what I said. How would you like to be the bank, make a great return, and have it backed by real estate? And my Facebook blew up. And lo and behold, I had 65 people that were like, tell me more. And so what I did is I ended up having 3 people within 48 hours that each wanted to give me $100,000. And the terms were, you give me 100,000, I'll pay you 7% quarterly payout, 2-year minimum, 3-year max, and I'll back it to my single family property that's free and clear.
Oh, right on.
So that's exactly what I did. The property was a diamond in a rough. It was performing day one at 12% cash on cash, right?
Yep.
So all of a sudden, just walk with me, 7% to pay the debt partner, right, on my piece.
Yep.
It still got 5%. It's all about the arbitrage.
Yeah,
right?
you just arbitrage money just like that. So you use leverage for, instead of getting a bank loan, you say, hey, let's just, I'll go find some private guys, you still gave them basically your single family loan, but and so you got that money, you take that into your investment as just you make the spread between it, because then it's going to pay off enough to pay everything else. And boom. And you're still 25% owner as well.
Boom. Yeah, pretty much.
See, that is the beautiful piece about this business, is there's so many different little nuances and ways to make money, but it's really about challenging yourself. And that's when you woke up, that's what you did, is you challenged and said, okay, not enough people do this more, is challenge capital. How much are you what's your piece of the deal, and how do you expand it a little bit? Right.
Absolutely. Well, hey, even going back to that though, Corey, like, here's the thing. I didn't go beg anyone for anything. Just like as you previously said, it was just merely an opportunity. When I had a pile of people that wanted to tell me more, guess what? I was in the driver's seat. I got to pick who I wanted to work with, who was easygoing, who is my friend, and who would I like to give the opportunity to. So then my first quarterly payout goes out. Guess what I get on my text message? Erin, I just got my check in the mail. Thank you so much. This is awesome working with you. I filled his void. I was not begging. And I feel like people in our space are constantly begging for money versus sharing what an extraordinary opportunity that they have.
Yes. There's nothing better fulfilling than an investor saying, thank you so much. Right. Or I used to be in the stock market and I was so scared, and now I'm not scared anymore. I'm making money. That's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah. And also at the same token, for your listeners, just hear me out on this. I made that post, and you're always going to have naysayers, right? Mediocre people do not like high achievers. I just heard that the other day and I was like, bam, that is so good. It's so true. But I had naysayers that were like, you can't take the debt and put it behind the mortgage of the apartment. And I was like, y'all don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm not going to break, SEC codes and whatnot, but you're always going to have naysayers, and you have to be willing to climb that mountain and not give a rip what people think or say.
Yes. And usually it's the ones that are closest to you anyway. So like, once you just accept that fact, because they'll always come on board once you've done it. It's funny how that works. You can't do it. And then you do it. You're like, oh, I always knew you could.
It's so true. That's awesome.
But what an amazing journey. What an amazing story. So when you look at now, and 2020 was rough. Like 2020 was, we had COVID hell. We had so many things to go wrong, but that's gone. Thank God. Like we're going to put that in the trash can, but it leads us up to where we're at now in 2021. What is the plan? What is Quattro's plan? And where do you think you're heading?
Yeah, no, great question. So last year was pivotal. We had a merger with all the partners and created Quattro Capital. Started with the first property in January. And, a lot of people would poo-poo 2020. It was rough, but we also got to find a way to make lemonade out of lemons, right?
Yeah.
And for us, it was almost like it was Black Friday. We had a lot of our other colleagues that were sitting on the sidelines waiting for the dust to clear. not Quattro, man. We were on a stinking mission. As a matter of fact, we closed on 8 properties in 2020, which is crazy to think in a stinking pandemic.
Yeah.
Fast forward, here we are in 2021, and next week we're going to close on our biggest deal, which is a $9 million deal in Decatur, Georgia, which is awesome. And then we have
Decatur. I used to own a Decatur.
Really?
Yeah, I know that.
Property.
Huh? Yeah, no doubt. That's be funny. Oh gosh,
that's crazy. So, anyways, then we got 2 more in the lineup behind that. So we're on a mission for sure.
Dude, that is so awesome. The power of velocity, teamwork. Everybody's doing a piece of that, right? And I can just tell by the smile on your face. If you're watching on Facebook right now, or on YouTube, like that's a sincere smile of this is pretty freaking awesome.
Absolutely.
Now I want to talk to you about something that I think we didn't even have this discussion, but I can tell that's who you are, about women empowerment, right? I've got a strong woman. My wife's a strong woman. I believe you're a strong woman. I know you are. I want to just take just a quick minute to talk to the women that are listening to this podcast right now, because I personally don't feel there is enough women real estate entrepreneurs in our space. And I think there needs to be more. So what would you like to tell them?
Amen. Listen, I just think for all the women out there, there's a lot of pressure.
You're a full-time mom too. You're like, It's like you're still doing all the stuff.
Hey, listen, first and foremost, I will just tell you the truth. As a mom of 5 kids, I feel completely inadequate. As a mom, there's a lot of pressure of what we're not doing right and what we need to be doing, right? All those moms out there, this is a commonality, right? And when we wake up in the morning, or let me just speak about myself, I wake up in the morning and sometimes I feel completely defeated. And I have to have that inner talk with myself. It's me saying, and as corny as this sounds, you have to have that self-talk of, man, I'm enough. I'm worthy. I'm awesome. I'm more than a conqueror. I'm an incredible mom. I'm a powerful wife. I'm a business entrepreneur. Because guess what? Nobody else is going to cheer you on. And if your ass doesn't get up and cheer yourself on, you're missing the mark, pal. You're missing the mark. So I think for just the moms out there is, I'm on a mission to just shout from the mountaintop. Whoever it is that wants to move into this space, I will help you get there if you are hungry and you truly, truly have a desire. Because just as Corey said, we weren't put here to settle for mediocrity. We are supposed to be that bright light on a hill and showing not just for ourselves, but for our children. Our children need to see it, not hear it, but they need to see mom and dad, but mom right now, in massive action, right?
Yeah.
You want to leave that true legacy. And
here's what it looked like. Do you remember when I was doing that? Because everybody goes through, there's a little bit of hustle and grind, or, just mince focus. And then, but what comes on the other side of that, and your kids can see that. My kids have seen it now. We've been talking about this for years, and now my kids are older, almost getting ready to go to high school. But they saw dad put in the work in the beginning. And they're seeing the rewards that we reap when we go on these, cool vacations and all the stuff that we do. And we've attributed that to the process, right?
You know what? I'm just going to stop right there, because I read your book and I was in awe about, and this was a bit back, about you taking your kids on these awesome trips to Hawaii. And I think you ended up taking your neighbors and paid for your neighbors and showed the fun. And man, talk about just a giver's gain, and your children getting to see dad doing that for those that he loves. I mean, that's massively powerful, my friend.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It really is a journey, because your why changes. So in the beginning, my why was, I just need to pay my bills, right? Like, get that done. All right. Now I'm starting to grow. Then I'm starting to now I'm making stupid money, and your drive changes. My drive changed, which is like, everybody, they know this. Supplier fun is my mantra. Like, that's what I want to do, is I just want to show up and supply the fun. That's my why. I know it, right? And I enjoy it. And my wife enjoys it as well, that we get to be able to create experiences. We've actually put that as our experiences are way more powerful now than making money, right? Amen. And so it changes as you go, right? And but also, so we go back to your family life for just a minute. Now, I don't know about you, but so for my wife's strong entrepreneur, one of the things that we've learned to do is you can pay for a lot of things through money. So as a working mom, if you don't want to do laundry, like, oh, I got to do laundry. No, you don't, right? You can pay someone to do laundry.
Yep.
You can pay someone to clean your house. You can pay someone to clean your house every other day, which is what Corey Peterson does, right? We only have to make our beds on like Tuesdays.
That's awesome.
But it didn't start there. It started with, just like a little bit of like, hey, let's just get a house cleaned once a week, right? And that was enough for me. I was like, oh, it's so nice. And then I started, pushing the envelope. That's what I've learned to do is how do I support my wife? Because I feel like she has the brunt of it, even though I'm dad. But for mom, it's different. I think there's more kids come to mom. They don't want dad when they're sick. Who do they want? They want mom.
Yeah.
There's a special bond that moms have. And so I always say for a woman, if you're out there, don't be afraid to like put in the team.
Right.
And I don't know if you have that, but like, if you're not, go do it. Cause it's like God sent. My wife she'll scream up and down and be like, dude, that's one of the best things. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would like it because they weren't going to do it my way. I'm like, honey, we will teach them your way. I promise.
Sure.
Right? However you want my underwear folded, we'll make that happen.
Sure. No. And it's who, not how, right? So it's really just putting those people in place to lighten your load so that you can stay in your lane where you're most efficient. It makes the most sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's just like, I'm not saying that everybody needs it or necessarily wants to have it or have to have it. But when you really look and say, where am I at, what I need, and do I need to be doing this work? Because what happens is if you're working, as a working mom, Monday through Friday, on Saturdays and Sundays, the last thing that you want to be doing is anything with freaking work tied to it, housework. It should just be, in my opinion, like I'm hanging out with the kids. And that's where we started with it because we're like, do we do laundry? F no. Let's go out and hang out with the kids. For a time, we were kind of dirty.
No, it even goes back to, I had a coach at one time that she said, look, if you don't hire a nanny in your home to help you and you don't hire a housekeeper, I'm done. And we're not going to coach until that's in place. She was just trying to help me see what is the best use of my time, right? Yeah. Be more efficient, right? It made more sense to pay it out, even though at the time I felt guilty, right? But it made me more efficient in what I was doing on the day to day.
Again, so you just brought it up again. Because I think I didn't even think of the word guilty because I'm a guy. I don't think that way, right? But you just brought it up. And so that's got to be something that women will feel. It's like, I feel guilty, but don't, right? Like, man, that to me, because I didn't even think about that. But I know that's a truth. That's a real truth. Like, I'm supposed to be able to do this. And the truth is, no, you don't, right? And then your self-talk, because I think that's where you've nailed it, is telling yourself of why you're so much better than with these other things that you're doing, that doesn't even matter anymore. That's just a little piece.
Right. No, 100%. You're spot on, Blake.
So if you look into, I guess, your whole journey in real estate, like I kind of want to just leave the audience with kind of your overall arching message that you would like to share, because I think we're wrapping up to an end, but I just love this conversation of where it started. And we kind of just did it freestyle. That's typically how I do all of my podcasts. I love it. But I just think this is a great little journey that we've went on of where you started. You had a dream and you got it bigger. What's your overall message you'd like to share to the audience?
I think that for one, it's making sure that you are in business with the right people that you choose. Not because you have to, but choose those people that you want to surround yourself around. I look at Quattro and what we stand for, right? It's called Quattro for a reason. It's the 4 most important P's, okay? It's people. People are first. We have to be worried and love and be good to people by people. Number 2 is the property, right? We want to find a great property that in turn, number 3 is going to yield incredible profits. And then lastly, our team has a heart for philanthropy, right? We love to do right by people and serve the hurting, the less fortunate. And if your heart is in the right place to truly, truly take care of those people that can't take care of themselves, that is where you are massively going to win. And for us, we have the most incredible team where our values completely line up. So everything we do together, we're just fired up about it because we're on the same freaking mission, right?
Yes.
And that's beautiful to be doing life and you're wanting to head in the same direction, right? And lastly, I think it really just goes back to wanting to leave a legacy. I want my children to be able to shout what an incredible mom that they had, that was hardworking, that was the protector, that was loving, that was kind, that wanted to see them be the best that they could possibly be. And just even piggybacking on that, look, we've got a big Airbnb out in the hill country, and it's not the most lucrative. It's just really not. I love multifamily, but guess what? This property's on 5 acres. And so we have those little shipping containers. I don't know if you've ever seen them or heard of them, but we're using them as AirBNBs. And we just put our 3rd one on our property. Why? Because it's about our children, teaching them how to be entrepreneurial to the tune of those kids each having their own Airbnb app, each of them having their own little shipping container, and they're going to learn people skills because too many kids are on their computers and gaming, and we need them to have that social interaction. So every dollar that comes in goes to their savings, and the other, I shouldn't say that, 50% goes to us and 50% goes to the children. If we have to respond to the Airbnb message to greet them or help them, they lose out on that stay. We're teaching them to be accountable and to get a taste of that money coming in. Right? So it's about the kids and leaving a legacy and showing them how to navigate in this crazy ass world we live in.
Yes.
Without entitlement, because there's too much of that damn stuff.
That is well said, Erin. Thank you so much for that. Gosh darn it. That is awesome. Listen, if people want to get a hold of you or learn more about your guys' company, where do they go?
Absolutely. Go to www.thequattro, 2 T's, Quattro, way, way.com. And you can click there, meet my team. Each of them have their own little 1-minute video. You can fill and find out why it is I'm linked with these people, because you two are going to fill their heart. And then you can book an appointment from there or one of them. And I would love to chat with you.
And you have a podcast as well, right?
Say it again.
You guys have a podcast, right?
I'm ready to launch. That's
Yes.
Yeah, so exciting stuff.
So lots of good stuff happening. Again, thank you for coming on the show and just giving your wisdom and your knowledge and more importantly, your passion and vigor and for life. It is so inspiring. I know you're inspiring people right now. Guys, listen, she said it earlier in the show, is that it all comes down to mindset. You know, what you put your mind to really does matter, guys. If you believe it, you can achieve it, and your paradise is possible.